Welcome back to Gaming. Let's take a look at Tuesday's video. This week they mostly go over, I think you pronounce it Svaga. I think that's how Simon said it. Some reveals for that kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting because a lot of the stuff he showed used to be the stuff they would give us for our kind of creator leaks. And if you guys are, I don't know if I'll post this before or after, we'll see, but there will be a Friday leak, and like I said in there, they'll be monthly now, and they gave us a lot more in terms of, I guess, almost, well, I won't say anything because I don't know what I can or can't say, so we'll just leave it at that. Check out that video. But I would say a lot of what he shows today is almost like what they used to give us, and now they're kind of giving us something different. One thing I will mention, just if you're so inclined, they do have a merch store now. You can go there and take a look. Uh, I don't get anything from this, not sponsored in any way. Just letting you know if you want to get some stuff right off the bat, you can use that code there and get 10% off, Fateless10. He did ask, what we would like to see in the store. And I thought it might be kind of cool if they did a sort of a game launch poster, like a limited edition. I don't know how many they would make because you got 30,000 people sign up for the beta. They haven't really said if they're going to try to get all 30,000 people in, but he keeps mentioning that number, which makes me think they are going to try and get most people in. So that's, as far as I'm aware, of a large beta for a first-time game company on a mobile game. So I don't know how many they would do, but a launch poster would be something I would like to see. If it was a limited edition thing, I might check that out and buy that. All right, let's take a look how he talks about if you support them on Patreon. I haven't seen this. I don't do that. Not that I wouldn't. I'm just, just finished school, so I don't have a ton of extra money. I'm actually looking for a job, so wish him the best of luck, though. So this is a drawing of obviously meant to represent one of the stages of the campaign. Looks pretty good for concept art, right? I believe he shows another one, or is it just it panning? Yeah, okay. Just pans. And these are background, pieces that they can use, either form them in a different way, like connect them in different ways within the stage to make it look different, or they can kind of retexture them and do a few different things to reuse them in possibly other areas. We see this, I forget what god this is, but that looks pretty cool, right? See that in the background. Front view, side view. Yeah, and then, oh, I went too far. Let's take a look. There we go. This sort of, I don't know if these are still called pyramids. Aztec pyramids? Yeah, I guess they still call them that. Obviously, this is not technically Aztec, but it's sort of based on that. Oh, they call it a tower temple. Okay. But yeah, I don't know if that's just going to be on the side or sort of a end goal where you go on the stage, because you can see sort of a representation of character size there. Some gates. Obviously, that's just a piece within the stage, front view. Oh, I see. I didn't know that was the back. Huh. Or maybe that's not the back. That's just with roots, without roots. Okay. Just more artwork as well. Here's the first kind of cool reveal. I don't remember. Let's see if we can get him to say this guy's name, because I don't remember what his name. He did say he was going to be a rare, though.
Hanuman. He's not
Hanuman, okay. Obviously some monkey vibes there. He did mention, it is not Sung Wukong, even though there's some ape-type features there. And they showed some of this for their inspiration, obviously Street Fighter. More concept art here. And then I like this weapon. I don't know. I don't remember what these are called, but, it's kind of like a mace. A big old bonker. And then this is actually some initial renders and stuff. Looks pretty cool, right? You can see kind of the, I don't know what you want to call it, a humanoid type creature, or god, not creature, god in this case, right? Half sort of ape, half man. Kind of reminds me of potentially Planet of the Apes type stuff if it was made now. Although I know they are making Planet of the Apes, but those are still apes that talk. They're not really doing them humanoid, kind of like the old movies. Yeah, here's another reveal. Ravana, rare also. And again, like I said before, if you want to know what is or isn't out yet, you can usually check out Ragewood's site. That's ragewoodgaming.com. I thought they showed more of this guy. Oh yeah, here it is. You can see more of his cloak in the back and these kind of, I don't know what these are. Demon heads, they look kind of like him with these teeth. Then here's some inspiration they use for the weaponry. And he just kind of shows like their process going through the different poly models. That was kind of cool. And here's some of their inspiration for Ganesh, which we've already seen before. And then he talked about, building the character. An interesting thing he mentioned here that I actually talked about in my video when they revealed this. I don't remember if that was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But they're very conscious of building characters with multiple limbs that aren't, like human-like, with essentially a biped on two legs and, have arms. They're not a quadruped. But obviously, you have 4 arms, 2 legs here, and he said they were very conscious of making it functional and not just aesthetic, which is, I think my example I used was, games with spiders. It'll run up and then just attack with its front 2 legs. So it's like, what's really the point of having it be a spider, not utilizing all of its legs? But we've seen this before. And what else did he show? Yeah, we've seen that before as well, I believe. Maybe not that part, but we've seen all this. And then there was another reveal. Yeah, this character. Kali, I think is how you say it. Also a rare, he said. Conch shell, I didn't notice that before. Okay, I don't know anything about these gods. This is just kind of, a quick and dirty what happened this week. I don't know if I'll make individual videos on the characters shown here. I will if I have time, but obviously each video takes a little bit of time. So I don't want to put out a low quality video just to have it come out, I don't know if they show, maybe they show the front now. If that's still the back. Oh yeah, it's still the back, okay. Oh, then here you go, another character. I don't remember what the name of this one was, but this is also new. Let's see if I can figure out somewhere where the name is.
Different kind of like iterations. So for Shiva here, we're basically trying to get the...
Okay, Vashiva. That Vashiva was a female god. But yeah, so another character reveal there. Looks good. I'll have to look into it, but this gives me sun vibes, so something to do with the sun is what I'm guessing. And that's about it this week for the Tuesday video. Let's get to the Thursday podcast. All right, let's take a look at the podcast. Quick note, though, in between recording my part for the Tuesday's video and this video, they actually gave us referral links for the Fateless store. I don't get anything back from it as far as I am aware of. I assume at this point they're just kind of using it to test engagement of some sort. I'll put that down below in the description of the video, so if you were planning on getting something and haven't, you can go ahead and use that link. It's 10% off, the same though as the Fateless one, so if you already used it, there's no point in using mine. It's the same. Anyway, so this podcast is about game economies. The first, 10 or 15 minutes, they kind of talk about the different types of game economies. One of the things they talked about is too much choice essentially makes it too hard to regulate, and they used, they talked about the Diablo, how it became sort of a real money market rather than what Blizzard intended. You could spend a small amount of money and be stronger than you would after many hours of grinding. They said, you need a controlled path, but not so controlled that it feels restrictive. They said trading is too difficult. But then they also said, I don't know, it was kind of weird. Like they didn't say no to trading, and SAF made sure to say like no leaks. So it seems like they have something in mind. They were being very careful not to say what they do have in mind so far, but I really didn't get a sense if they were not going to strictly allow trading. One of the things they talked about game economies that do work was EVE Online. They did say, I forget if they said Clash of Clans or Clash Royale. They said theirs is probably the best, but they don't think anyone's really got it right so far. And they said part of I am talking about spending right now, but they also talked about just resources you get from playing and things of that nature. So when they said, the gold crunch, it doesn't really scale that well in a lot of games they've played. You run out of gold quickly at the beginning. So they feel like that's not necessarily the best because there's randomness to the upgrade. So you may have essentially wasted your gold and then you're going to spend the next few days just grinding to try and get another piece of gear up to then progress again. So they want to avoid that. They do want to have sticking points, but they don't want to make them useless, like just wasting gold thinking you're going to get an upgrade and you're not, was sort of an example they used. Then they use, the example of critical versus non-critical resources. They didn't really say what non-critical resources were because they said gold is a currency, but the example they used for critical resource was EXP. They said, you got to make sure that there's a way that they can get that effectively. The critical resource, you want to have a good balance between the two so that they were saying, a lot of games end up monetizing non-critical resources because if you monetize critical resources, you essentially are doing, they didn't say pay to win, they said skip ahead, but to me that's pay to win, if you can essentially buy power in a way. And then they said also when you do that, eventually the games become too grindy because you just have to keep building on that. Since you can buy the, critical resource, it's like what's the next critical resource we add or create or the limit or upper bound or something. But they said, grinding is okay as long as the challenge feels new and good. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And they used the example of raid dungeons, which I think we can all attest to this. If you're probably mid or end game, you're not really getting gear from the old dungeons. You're pretty much selling it and getting the new sets from either, Cintranos or like Pinpoint from the event dungeons, things of that nature. And then where else? I forget where you get Slayer from right now, but nobody's really getting gear from dungeons. So I said you have to be aware of things like that. Doing an event to get points, but you don't really need anything from that event can, feel very pointless. So they want to make sure there's value in the grind. That was something they talked about. And they said, when thinking about value in the grind, that makes them think, what is the end game? What are you reaching towards? So how to keep players engaged, you know, so that the grind feels meaningful. And then once you get there, how do they keep from having power creep be a huge issue? Because then again, you kind of run into the same critical resources issue, except in this sense, the critical resource is a hero. Oh, got to get this new hero to do this new specific thing. They said, it's just essentially a form of power creep, which doesn't really work anymore. They said games are successful now when there's much more an emphasis on story, which to me makes it sound like they're going to have some pretty good events planned. We'll have to wait and see. But I like that mindset. Sham did say something about AI, and he called it Dexter's Lab. And then Saf kind of piped in and said, oh, like, I don't know what he was going to leak, what they're using it for. He made a joke about, oh, you think we were going to have like an AI sale bot that's going to make it impossible for free to plays to play, and he started laughing. So they're using AI for something, but they won't tell us what. But then they talked about using AI to test and build, an in-game economy. But then they said, what data set are you going to use? Like, how are you not going to copy a game essentially if you use their data set? Because either it won't test yours well or it tells you theirs works. So not really that helpful. And they said, different players have different needs. Some want prioritize getting power or stamina, whatever you want to call it. Not player power, but like energy versus shards. Some people just want to play, and some people want the new heroes. They said you got to be aware of the different types of players and make sure you satisfy as many as you can. Although Saf said, you're never going to satisfy everyone, but you want to get as large of an audience as you can. And they said as part of that, they want to make sure it feels like you can have fun without spending. I think we've all played games, gotcha games, where we feel like if you're not spending, you're always left behind. So they're acutely aware of that as well. Then they said, what's your favorite economy in a game that you think is done well? Brad said D3 if bots and exploits didn't exist. So I don't really know exactly what you would do with that. I understand what he's saying. But yeah, I don't know how you would get rid of that. They did also mention Path of Exile's economy seems to be doing pretty well. I don't know what that is. I haven't played it. EVE Online, obviously, they mentioned that. Star Wars Galaxy was one, and Clash Royale was one. I would say an idea, and let me know down below what you guys think a game that has a good economy as far as it works well for the players without totally being bad for the parent company as well. I was thinking if they did end up letting you trade characters, what if you sort of had a stamina of trades you could do? Say you could do one legendary a month that's equal to, I don't know, two epics that's equal to four rares or something like that. And then when you post it, even if you've already leveled the character up and used it, you have gear on it, blah, blah, blah. When you put it into trade and the person gets it, it's a level one. It takes away all the resources. Now, whether you get those back or not, I don't know. That'd be something else. But it takes it down to level one. So all you get is a base character. And it's completely anonymous. You can't see who posted it. I know there's probably a way people could try and figure that out, but that's why I said take it back down to, base, so you can't tell it's just a base character. And it's anonymous. You can't see the person, the clan, nothing. And then, you trade one legendary or you buy one legendary. That's it you could do for the month. And you get some type of in-game currency that's only for trade, so it's only good for that. You could sell, and then the stamina would sort of work both ways. You could sell one and buy one, so the equivalent, maybe buy two epics, buy four rares, that type of thing. And it doesn't carry over. It doesn't roll over month to month, so you can't wait, like, just start a account, let it sit for a year, come back, and then just buy, like, the 12 best legendaries. Just power up your account that way. And also, like I said, have a currency just for trading, and don't make that trading currency purchasable. You can't buy it in game or anything like that. That'd be kind of my idea. I don't know if it would work or not. I'm sure someone would figure out something around it to exploit it, but let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, I ask the guests, what character would you like to see? And his example was Odysseus of Greek mythology. You can go ahead and take a look into that character if you want. He has a big, long story that it's kind of too hard to summarize quickly. But that's about it for Godforge, or This Week in Godforge. And if you're watching this in about, I don't know exactly when I'm going to post this, but say 15 to 16 hours, we'll have another video coming out with some new juicy stuff. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching. Bye.